Hello everyone. This video is a demonstration for TCP session hijacking for my cybersecurity lab in Advanced Computer Network Security course. So let's start with some overview. TCP, as we all know, is a full duplex, reliable and ordered communication protocol between two end systems over an IP network. This lab deals with hijacking an existing TCP connection, that is telnet session, between two victims by injecting malicious contents into this session. The setup used for this lab contains two Ubuntu VMs, two Ubuntu virtual machines running on a Linux computer. So we'll start a telnet session between one of the VM and the telnet server on a Linux computer and use other VM to attack this session. You can also use Windows VM. As you can see, I've already started two Windows VM virtual machines. I will use this virtual machine to start the telnet session between this and the host computer, and this virtual machine as the attacker and the observer. Now let's get the IP address of all the virtual machines running on the computer. We can do that by running nmap command, but for that we need the range of the IP address, which we can get using the ifconfig. The address is this. The range is 192.168.122. So if we do an nmap, we can see all the hosts running on this network. As you can see, there are three hosts running. One is the host computer itself, and these two are the VMs running on the host computer. Now that we know all the IP address of the VMs, we can start the attack by using ARP spoofing. ARP spoofing is a type of man-in-the-middle attack in which attacker links its MAC address with the IP address of the victim or the server and sends some falsified ARP messages over the LAN. Thus, attacker will be receiving any data that is intended for that IP address. Before doing ARP spoofing, we should enable the packet forwarding in the attacker's machine. So for that, we'll use this command. Now that IP forward is enabled, we'll start ARP spoofing. I is for interface and we'll be using ETH0. T is for target, which is one of the VM. And the destination is the server address. We'll do the ARP spoofing for the other side as well, for the server side. Now that ARP spoofing is complete, we can test this attack by starting Wireshark. Select the interface, that is ETH0, start sniffing. As you can see, many ARP packets are being exchanged between the VM and the server. Now to check whether the spoofing is complete, we'll ping the server from the VM. As you can see, the ICMP packets from the VM to the server. So you can see the ping packet being transmitted from the VM to the server. That concludes that the ARP spoofing was successful. We can stop the ping now. Now that the man in the middle attack is completed, we'll start the telnet session. This is the IP address of the server, the user ID, the password. In the filter you can see telnet, and you can see all the telnet packets. So the password which I used for my login is ROR, and if you see all the packets, you can see the user ID and the password easily from the packets. This, for example, the last byte is the character, is the first starting of my password, R, and if you see other packet, it's O. If you see this packet, it's R again. So if you see all the packets properly, you can just by sniffing the packets you can get the user login and password, but the aim of our lab is not to get the password and login. We need to hijack the session starting from this VM. So for hijacking this session, I will be using hijack, which is a hijacking tool written in C. So for hijack to run, you need interface, that is ETH0, source IP address, source port number, which is a value from 0 to 65536, which we can get from Wireshark. You can see the source port number easily from one of the packets. See, the source port number is 37122. Destination IP address we know is the server IP address, and destination port number is 23 by default. So we'll put source IP address, source port number, destination IP address, destination port number. So after running hijack, it waits for some transmission on the telnet session to get the correct sequence number for the hijacking. So we'll just put an enter over here. As you can see, the hijack has acquired the proper sequence number, and it has started the hijack. So from now, the telnet session over here has been hanged, that is because it's been hijacked. So just to check whether hijack is complete, we'll issue a make directory command. So if we see an LLS over here, we can see the demo folder has been created by the hijack session. So we'll run one more command to delete the folder. And the folder has been deleted. So you can see that the session was hijacked successfully. And now from now here onward, if I put any command, it will run on that telnet server. So I'll close this connection. That's it, folks.